On the blue, as we said, Cloud9 on the red. We'll see that Zed and Alistar right quick on the ban list.
So Zed being banned against High, who of course spammed it in Korean solo queue. I believe everyone has seen it. And also a pretty good ban because Tenon's in the mid lane. Normally prefers these like AoE team fighting champs like Xerath or Yana. And obviously they won't do too well against something like a Zed.
So the last time these guys met, it was KaBuM that actually felt they could have taken this game against Cloud9. So Cloud9 have to be super focused coming into this matchup. Of course, the Rumble being taken away from Balls, no surprises there, but it does mean Ryze has snuck through. We'll see whether Lep decides to take it in that top lane, of course, because Aurelio was open, or whether it's Tenon's in the mid.
Yeah, and the funny part is, obviously if it is a flex pick for them, I haven't seen any of their players actually play Ryze. And if you look at the picks for Lep and Danagon so far, they both played, Lep and Tenons, they both played 4 different champions. So obviously the champion pool here for KaBuM, I mean, they have a lot of options, seeing as they also first pick Ryze, take it away from Balls, you ban the Rumble as well. I wonder if it's going to be top lane. I expect it to be top lane for Lep, and then he needs to be careful because he can get camped.
I like the pick here as well. They take away the Rumble and Balls' Ryze. He's played Lulu here on the International World stage as his 3rd champion, so it'll be very interesting to see what they lock in for him in the top lane to feel comfortable. Meteos as well as his choice to go for Kha'Zix here if he wants it.
Yeah, I think we will see a Kha'Zix, obviously with that Lee Sin banned out. Danagon, you know, he stepped up yesterday in terms of pressure. He was actually starting to support Lep very well. He was around the map, got that smite steal, of course, as well. So there's a lot of big plays by him. But as we just saw, heard double lift, Lucian, probably one of the strongest AD carries out there right now, has been locked in for Sneaky, and of course Meteos will take that Kha'Zix.
Yeah, and as Doublelift also said, Lucian right now, he doesn't fall off in the mid game like Tristana, who would be probably the 2nd strongest AD carry from what we have seen so far. And it's all about this mid game power spike in Singapore. Every single team, when you have the mid game power spike, it's one of the reasons Rumble has been so strong. You can win the first few dragon fights, so you can get the goal lead and just snowball the game completely. For KaBuM here, the fact Lucian is gone and it's been Minerva's most played champion could be a big issue because he needs it actually to dominate the bottom lane.
Oh man. Speaking with KaBuM yesterday, they did say mid-game is kind of where they fall off, so a spike would be fantastic for them to be able to have in that situation. Syndra and Thresh getting locked in.
Good picks right here. Dances look very good on Thresh, the Brazilian crowd. They want to see him make the big plays, of course. He's known for his great skill shots as well on these supports. We saw it on Morgana as well. And Syndra for Tenons. He looked good on Syndra when he played it earlier in this tournament, and it is one of his favorite champions.
Well, Syndra, as you mentioned, been very strong. Hasn't been as prolific as we thought we would be, especially after obviously we saw a lot of it in Taipei. It hasn't been a big choice. It's all been about that Zillion. He's been the focus throughout, whether it's picked or banned so far. Alistar very rarely sneaks through, which is why he's sitting on that ban screen once again. Cloud9 though, support, I think we're going to be not possibly leaving that mid lane till last here. I don't think he wants to show his hand just yet.
But this is some very explosive picks already from KaBuM. I mean, there's a lot of pick potential here. If Cloud9 starts falling behind or is slacking a little bit in the game, easily KaBuM can catch him off guard, and Jinx wasn't banned.
Jinx was not banned. Really excited to see what Minerva can put on that. Or if he switches it up. Anyway, just to give credit to Minerva's laning phase, it has been really good. He's come out on top on some of the really top tier caliber, even Najin White Shield games.
And this is just his, what, 13th game on AD carry?
It's pretty scary,
Yep.
That's crazy.
I mean, the guy was a mid laner, then he was a support, and now he's an AD carry, and he's performing so well. Same goes for the qualifier in Brazil. He surprised everyone where he just got in there and started dominating.
And he still doesn't have that many games in that position, and he is just attuned to it so quickly. So the Elise gets locked in for Danagorn. We'll see if that pays off for him. A lot of potential to get ganks off in these lanes with the crowd control they provide. So maybe they can take those laning phases to Cloud9 like they like to.
Interesting pick for Balls. Went for that KO. KO's not been very successful here in Singapore. And if you look at his history, he's only played it once throughout the entire summer.
Right.
And he lost.
Yeah.
So this is a risky pick, but Xerath locked in the mid lane for High.
Yeah, so that explains it. We were talking about how KaBuM had some very explosive picks here with the Syndra, with the Ryze and Thresh, of course. Instantly, Morgana with the Black Shield and Kayle with her ultis to simply deny the pick potential from KaBuM. Now you have a Xerath and a Kha'Zix as well for the long-range poke here.
Yeah.
Cloud9 is really setting up to just start poking down KaBuM. You have so much disengage already, and you have, of course, the Kayle ulti to save whoever gets caught out.
Siege the turret and burn it down as fast as possible. It's a definite possibility for Cloud9. I'm absolutely certain they won't want a repeat performance of the struggles they had in Game 1.
No, because it was actually a strange game. Also talking with Cloud9, they were not happy even though they won the game because they knew it was a bad start. Minerva especially was looking great down his bottom lane again, of course, because all Cloud9's focus was on Lep in the top lane, which we have seen a few times. Actually, only the last game he played was the one where he didn't get focused and he didn't even die.
Absolutely. So now, of course, that the champions are locked in, they're going to be heading on to the Rift in just a moment. Who do you guys at home think will take this matchup? Tweet us your hashtags, KaBuM win or C9 win to @LOL Esports, and of course, we'll see which comp you think will come out ahead. This is going to be an interesting one. Will KaBuM win the vote? They have done a couple of times, but they're up against Cloud9 now. Cloud9 fans, of course, America will still be awake on the West Coast.
It's going to be an interesting matchup to start it off. Looking at what KaBuM kind of does to themselves in the mid game, hopefully they don't just get pulled out. We've seen a lot of times that Minerva will do good, as we say, in the laning phase, and then you'll see him in the mid lane because the team wants to group according to what their opposing team is doing. So hopefully they don't get dictated into a game they don't want to play too early. We are on to the Rift. KaBuM on the blue side, Cloud9 on the red as these teams get a little bit of a rematch.
So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Day 4 of Singapore. All up in the air. The group stages have been very entertaining over the last 2 weeks. Who will reach the quarterfinals? It is all going to be decided today. Will KaBuM cause an upset and force Cloud9 out? If Cloud9 lose this game, they are effectively out in the group stage. It is not something they want for sure. It is absolutely a must-win game for them.
Yeah, and we see it in the picks as well for Cloud9. Very safe picks here, going for this siege combo as well, and looking at the picks from KaBuM and saying, okay, a lot of pick potential. Let's get the Morgana, let's get the Kayle here, even though Balls normally doesn't play it, but obviously they had a few weeks in Korea to practice, and we've seen a lot of new champions from these teams because that's such a long time to boot camp.
Seeing if he picks up any more potions. Kind of just heads out of lane on that one, doesn't decide to. And everybody beginning to move in for the deep ward. So Dan's going to see that. The pings go out. You still get the safe early game here. This is really going to pay off for Minerva, especially in the bottom lane. Like I said, excited to see that Jinx coming out.
And I want to see if Sneaky actually wants to build a BT as his first item. We have seen it a few times on Lucian when you have like these siege comps where you complete your BT and then you instantly go mid lane and you just start sieging up on towers. And the reason it's so good is simply because you're going to get the shield and the lifesteal, so you can walk into the tower, hit it a few times, take some damage, or survive if someone like Syndra is there and stuns you. And then you can always lifesteal on the minions once again, and you obviously don't need any crit when you're hitting a tower.
KaBuM starting out on the red buff, as is Meteor, so we'll see whether they both meet down in that bottom lane. You can see in terms of ward coverage, it's all Cloud9 early on. Zero evidence of wards from KaBuM down in the lower part, but of course that is the wards from the trinket timing out, and it looks like, as expected, Minerva and Dance will be forced back. Lucian is very tricky in lane, and Lemonation's going to be looking to land those bindings.
Yeah, and it's very good for Cloud9 here. They actually get the standard lanes, because you want to have the Kayle as well up in his top lane to just start pushing down Ryze from the start. Ryze can trade with you, but he cannot push back the minions as fast as you can. So it's going to be all about the jungle press on top.
There's that level 2, a Lightbringer straight through Minerva. The 2 passive shots to him as well, and Lemonation doing it again, grabs brush control as soon as possible. In that bottom lane, hit still going down. Dance's Ignite is down, but Dance takes an Ignite over from Lemonation, and Sneaky is actually getting the assist on that one. His first blood goes to Lemon.
Yeah, Dance could have flashed right here, but Lemonation was so close to him. He barely even got to see the binding before it hit him, and then he just ends up dying. But Cloud9, early level 2, it's what you can always do here, and just rush it and start fighting.
Yeah, the aggression back and forth did not pay off. They went with that Ignite early. Double warrant, both going down. KaBuM and Cloud9 getting their coverage, making sure there's no crossovers. And you know, we talked about these jungle paths. We do see, of course, that Danagorn is nearby. Minerva may well need that assistance down here because he is incredibly low. Dance comes down. And Meteors, he can continue farming now because he wasn't needed down the bottom. They got the kill all on their own.
One of the things he loves to do lately, play a little bit more passive and get himself pretty beefy before he shows himself. One thing we always know is Meteors uses his time very efficiently.
And if every single lane is doing just fine, you don't really have to do anything. Minerva eating another binding down here. Elimination. He's been on point so far.
He is falling heavily behind in CS, and again, that Lightbringer catching on him. And Minerva, he absolutely has to go back now. He can't stick around any longer.
And notice how Danagorn has been sitting down this bottom lane for like the last minute actually, but he couldn't really gank because Minerva was so low. Also slapping Leb a few times in the face. But Danagorn is a jungler who loves to just sit and wait in the lane and like either look for the counter gank or be very patient at least before he goes in. And it often means he falls very far behind on farm, and he's already falling behind the Meteors right here because he was sitting in bottom lane.
Oh, it's going to make it a difficult one if the lanes can't hold themselves up on their own legs just in the beginning here. Only going to get harder and harder. Tinone's looking to be one that's sticking pretty well to high here. 33 to 22 in CS. Still has a bunch of potions to chug on both sides here. So we'll see if Tinone's can get high down and back. Already level up, doing quite well.
Yeah, it's right that you mentioned that, because I mean that's what's really been one of the winning things for KaBuM. What's kept them so close early stages. It's a three-man push up here. Tinone's is rightfully backing away. They have the coverage on the side, so they know they're safe above. Will continue his CS farming, but I was back to your point. Tell a lie, because Danagorn looks like he's going to try to go top. That's going to be an easy back off from balls. Just speeds himself up. But back to your point. We'll get there in the end. KaBuM actually have done well in lanes. They've managed to hold steady with Najim Whiteshield, with Alliance, with Cloud9 in the previous matches. So to start falling behind this heavily, looking towards the AD carries, of course, even the fact that Balls is starting to get ahead of Lep is a little bit of a worry.
Yeah, in this game I actually would have loved if KaBuM decided to lane swap like they did yesterday against Whiteshield, and it actually meant they could keep the laning phase going for a long, long time.
Ooh,
just keep farming. Let's see what happens here.
They're going to go in. Dance is there. They weren't ready, but he managed to jump straight on towards some chompers. Gets hooked in. There's no follow-on, though. Minerva can't go through. And Cloud9 denied a kill there. I think they absolutely would have got it without those chompers.
They managed to force a flash from Dance, and then some return damage onto Meteors here. And we actually just saw the voting beforehand.
Yeah.
KaBuM lost. Probably the first time I've actually seen them lose the voting.
I did say the West Coast is still awake, and North American fans
Come on, KaBuM fam.
get in behind them because they absolutely know that Cloud9 need to win this one. Don't worry, everyone here, I think the crowd is very much behind KaBuM.
Well, right now,
for them,
pressure is difficult, D-Man. Wards so deep in the side of KaBuM's jungle. That's why we see Meteos and crew so happy and eager to get inside and cause trouble for Danagorn. Now the wave freeze here coming in as much as they can to make it that much harder here for Minerva in the laning phase.
Danagorn once again looking towards this top lane, so the bottom lane being ignored by him, even though they are falling very far behind. Let's see if they can get onto balls here. Rune Prism from left, and it's good to go.
It's going to be very hard. He's got the flash up. He's got himself intervention available.
Here we go.
He's going to have to burn anything. It's just going to walk on through. Now he may need to burn intervention. No, flash comes out. There's the intervention. Gets home free.
But the idea was actually really good from Danagorn right here, because he was delaying his cocoon. He wanted balls to flash first, and then he could try and land the cocoon. But just missed it. It was, of course, nerfed a little bit. A bit smaller.
That's smaller range, indeed.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Sneaky. Taking 2 tower hits there. Dan's almost catching him with that death sentence as well.
Feeling quite sure of himself, diving past the turret with a bit of safety of Elimination shield, hopefully defying those hooks to come out. And Minerva doing what he can in the bottom lane. Everybody does what they can right now. Tinone's could really strike up something in the mid game. That part where we have seen KaBuM fall off, bring that out with Syndra.
Yeah, I mean, finally playing his favorite champion again. We've seen it on it once, and he actually looked really good in this game as well. Winning the lane in terms of farm early on, and we have seen the jungle pressure from Danagorn. It was top lane, it was bottom lane, so it wasn't because of Danagorn he's doing well, it's just purely one-on-one in here.
This is the problem, though, that the fact that when your top and bottom lane are falling behind, Danagorn's being pulled for either direction, both screaming for his help, because you can see it's almost a double CS differential between Minerva and Sneaky now. Sneaky really dominating that lane with the help of Elimination.
Yeah, he needs to put his focus on his bottom lane, because you cannot have a Jinx falling so far behind. Cloud9 can take this Lucian into the mid game, and Minerva will have to wait like 20, 25 minutes before he can even join the fights. So Danagorn, he needs to come down here, try and set up a kill. The Black Shield from Elimination is going to be pretty annoying though. when you have Cocoon and Hook.
You see the little things that Dan's is doing here from Minerva, grabbing the minion wave and taking it away from the turret, defying Sneaky, that easy aggro under the turret right here. Make sure you ward that brush before you walk any farther, though. Setting up camp and a nice dark passage to get him to safety on that one. It was looking real dark there, but they get out.
Managed to get out. No lane ward actually from Dante or Minerva. He's the guy sitting with the trinket ward.
It's because they've had to switch. They've switched to sweeping lenses so quickly that, like you say, there's no trinket from Minerva. He could have put it down there, but I think he wanted to get it in the river. They're so worried about Meteos' movements across the map.
Yeah, it is very normal when you go back and get your side stone, you then swap to sweeping lane as a support. And look here on Minerva. He has a special little build on Jinx where he actually rushes Ghost Blade. And it seems like he's going towards it. I mean, that's going to be a brutalizer probably with the longswords as the first item.
See how it works out for him. Top lane, of course, we do see Balls going early Berserker Greaves with those double rings. So making sure he gets a bit of that movement, a little bit careful, of course, did use that flash early on. There's the culling going down on Minerva. The entire chunk going down, forced out the summon, a heal just towards the end to make sure there was no proc of damage. High meanwhile,
nice
he's caught out by a stun.
Oh, no ulti to follow through, though. Blue buff is just going to allow him to keep that pressure on, and then he'll throw it out. Meteos letting down the pinks, or using the pinks that have already been laid down to start, clearing out. 95 to 83 in that lane still.
And you can start seeing the difference. This is where the pressure, Danagorn, is being pulled from every direction. He's falling behind Meteos right now in terms of farm. Meteos is quite happy. He can just keep on clearing that jungle as quick as he needs to, because the lanes, simply put, don't need him. He's just supplying the vision coverage that's required from him, but that is it.
It's just the worst situation as a jungler. You're like, okay, top lane is calling for help, bottom lane is calling for help, and you know it's so hard for you to even set up the ganks. We saw Balls up in the top lane. He had ulti, he had flash the first time. Danagon could have returned to top lane after he forced the flash, but decided then to look bottom lane, and obviously that's just been a losing battle for KaBuM so far.
It's interesting we see the CS differential between Tinones and High, because this is obviously the exact reversal of what High had against Froggen, and obviously everyone was talking about how Froggen was falling behind in lane. Well, it's kind of the matchup. Syndra is out farming Xerath, it's simply put.
And we always knew High in the North American LCS to kind of be somebody that didn't prioritize farm in lane. He'd be okay with doing super safe and then come out big for the team later. So maybe he's kind of playing that role once again.
Well, Xerath is a pretty safe laner. You have very long range to sit and farm, and you can simply avoid Tinones to ever get onto you, ever land a stun onto you, and be able to burst you down. Top lane though, Balls once again, trading with Lep.
Great damage coming in from Lep here, really using that catalyst to stay up in health, keep himself healthy per level. It's really helping to keep him up against Balls, and now pushing him into his own turret.
Yeah, he's been getting a lot of farm up here, going towards the Rod of Ages early on, as we always see on Rise, simply to get it stacking, get past your mid-game point where you're stacking up your tier and your Rod of Ages.
Oh, Cloud9 starting out the Dragon. Meanwhile, the top laners are being kept busy. Balls has to use that intervention early, but it is going to be Cloud9 and look to be securing their first Dragon of the game.
So this Dragon by Cloud9 was actually set up simply because Tinones went back to base, and High was still standing in the lane, and he saw him back, and they're like, okay, he's back in base, we can be 4 people starting Dragon, let's do it.
Teamwork OP, clearing wards together. Looks like they'll make it out safely. A nice ward in the Death Brush lets Tinones know he can't venture too far in. You see his first buy after that Chalice being a needlessly large rod. He really wants to make an impact here.
So you were talking about the Ghost Blade obviously being built up by Minerva, but it's one thing to get to that first item and maybe it works out well, but if your lane partner against Sneaky and he's going to have that Infinity Edge completed first, it's kind of defeating the purpose.
Yeah, I feel like the Ghost Blade, for him at least, is simply going to be because they have the single target burst of Rise and Syndra. We can talk about it later. No, Danagon decides to actually not go for the game because of Black Shield. But I feel like so the Ghost Blade is simply going to be because KaBuM wants to have like these 5-6 seconds the start of the fight where they just want to have as much burst as possible. So you pop the Ghost Blade, try and kill the first target, get your reset, and then keep chasing. I'm still not sure it's the best idea. Infinity Edge definitely seems to be the preferred option for most of the Jinx players.
So an answer from High with that needlessly large rod. Tinones, well thought out. Gets the rotation up top as High goes back to clear out the pink wards and start moving some of their wards forward as well. Danagorn has had this Sightstone for a while, and it's only getting placed in their jungle. Now we see them start to venture their way into Cloud9's side. Now knowing where Meteos is, he hasn't been able to create too much. Like we said, his lanes were doing good, but maybe they can start to cut him down a bit before he does get going as well.
Well, Lep's been unaffected by any pressure. Elimination got out. Good Black Shield comes out. Dark Binding lands, and he just strolls on out of there. 3v1, no problem.
Yeah, you need to hit those. I'm not even sure the Black Shield was up in time there. They just actually missed the stun and the hook, and you have to land them if you want to get the picks with this comp KaBuM is using. Cloud9 though, because they killed this bottom lane tower, they can instantly just swap top. KaBuM is not ready. Or they are actually. Danagon and Dance are here.
They're completely ready. They're going in top. Gonna catch on, Soul Shackles, is it gonna land? It's not, Dance is in trouble though. Meteos is there, flashed through, almost missed out, took tower hits. They're trying to gift it across instead, Meteos will finish it off. But in comes Tinones, the delay, and the flash already used by Meteos there, cost him his life. High, the Chomper's gonna stop him catching on towards Minerva. Sneaky returns back to that top lane. Lep has to be backing away from this one. He's got the support of Tinones, but he's taken so low, they still may be able to dive him.
Very, very close. The artillery coming in from high.
Nope.
Fire a cork back just on the tail end of the damage there. Getting aggressive here in the top lane. It's still 2-1 to kills, but they're not going to stop. Scout of the Week trying to come out from Tinones as he grabs a double buff off of that. They are able to push back Cloud9 a bit. Save that top turret, but they're down still from that first dragon in the laning phase so far.
So as KaBuM actually saw Elimination move towards the top lane, they started sending Danagon and Dance up there, and Tinones was ready to move from the mid lane. As soon as the dive happened, Meteos with the flash, seemed a bit weird, flashing actually behind Dance, and then suddenly Tinones is there. He has a lot of farm, he now picked up a kill. He's going to be very strong on this Syndra here.
Absolutely going to be a problem, and we were talking about, obviously, rises throughout this tournament. Lep has been unaffected in that top lane, got that Rod of Ages completed, Tier's been stacking out nicely, just building up towards that power spike.
He was farming well yesterday on Aurelia as well. As long as he doesn't get camped by the enemy jungler, he's actually doing fine on getting all the farm he needs, getting towards the late game points of something like a Rise.
Get powerful, very slow. If Cloud9 figures that something's getting too strong too fast, they will definitely clamp down on that. So you got to stay in the shadows to get bigger here. So far, Lep's doing that. Tinones showing himself somewhat. Dance trying to clear out a little too much in the ward. Elimination get caught here. Can Lep put down the Rune Prison and get a flash out of him? Great fade away Dark Binding coming in on Danagon. They decide not to engage any further.
Balls was so close to finishing that one off. Just lost the vision of Dance when he went in towards that bush. Tinones takes a blast from high. Starting to take control of this lane, but as you mentioned, Tinones is starting to get stronger. Got that first kill in there. Picked up that needlessly large rod a while back, so he's going to be sitting on a chunk of gold, but this is a problem. Sneaky is starting to run a little bit wild on Minerva in this bottom lane.
He's got his own army here in the bot lane. Meteos is just kind of watching from the side. Lep getting hit up. Danagon again in the pocket of Lep. Every time they force off, Cloud9 is taking little bits. They know not to go too far because KaBuM will engage. Choppers go down, not going to lock that one. Still, I don't know if they know Meteos is here, and High's actually edging down as well.
Yeah, all the wards in this jungle is from Cloud9, so they can see KaBuM. At least there was actually one ward here, so they probably did spot him beforehand.
Good zap.
Zapped him in the bot as well. Spot him and force him away. It's still about this bottom lane. I mean, every time Sneaky decides to just push up, he's so much stronger than Minerva at this point, and he can just always get some tower damage.
Elimination clearing the way, the vision that KaBuM had in the river, which will open things up for potential movements on the mid tower, but yet they're happy to just keep sticking this one out, farming it through. Lep untouched once again. Balls is taking away the wolves, the golem, sorry, in the top lane, and will protect his tower. Tinones finds Lamination, that will get cleared. That pink ward has been in that bush in the mid lane for a very long time, untouched.
And speaking of that, about that mid lane still, Tinones' first buy comes in with that Deathfire grasp.
Yeah, actually had the... He was building towards the Athenes first, but because he got so much gold, when he could actually go back, he could get the large rod, and then he picked up a kill as well. Dance, you might be in trouble. Nope.
Good time to stay safe. Dragon is now alive right here. Good item spikes at least. Coming in for Tinones. The Rod of Ages is still stacking up. They're going to be backing on this one, though. There's a bit of a rocket. It's not going to do too much. They'll know, though, what's going down. Dragon goes down once again for Cloud9.
Still, we have to look at Tinons with this early DFG for him, simply because he got the kill and got so much farm in lane, and he knows he needs to get kills early on here, otherwise Cloud9 can just keep pushing every single lane.
There's
they probably
the power.
this top lane. He's looking stronger and stronger. He's going to get the tower.
Yeah, that's a trade that Balls didn't even get close to winning this time around, and you can see he's starting to actually have problems up against Lep now. Lep becoming stronger and stronger. That tower will go down. First one of the game for KaBuM, and that's going to free up Lep. We'll see where he goes from here. The biggest problem is that Sneaky has kind of gone unchecked for the majority of this game.
Yeah, but KaBuM still, they have so much damage on their team already. If they do decide to group up, they can instant kill the members of Cloud9. Every single one. As long as Balls isn't there with the ulti, someone from Cloud9 will die. And that can be the trick for KaBuM if they want to stop this laning phase where they are going to lose this bottom lane tower and just start looking for teamfights, looking for picks.
And that's where KaBuM said they have been a bit weak, as they said themselves. This is where they need to take some chances. See Lep already getting himself in. Great deep wards. Nothing Balls can do about it. So they're really using their time efficiently here to get what they need.
It's a 3v2 push in the bottom lane. Tinons is coming around, but he will be spotted out by wards, which is why we see Cloud9 immediately step away a little bit. Got to be careful.
Yeah.
Try and catch him out around the side, but Tinons really can't leave that mid lane. They may try and set up something on high, though. You can see Danagorn is ready and waiting to go. Can he land that cocoon? No. Nothing thrown out whatsoever.
Oh, finding.
Nope, not going to go through that black shield.
Meteors again, just sitting down this bottom lane because Cloud9 is constantly pushing it up and because they have the wards in the jungle of KaBuM. Meteors is just sitting ready, waiting for KaBuM to make a move there and then instantly counter gank it, pick up the kills, take the tower as well and just push it in. Because they know it's all about sneaky and elimination down here.
I'd love if we had a counter on top of wards these days, because that pink ward in that mid lane has been there for so long. They've cleared so many wards.
Yeah.
KaBuM keep putting a standard ward on top, and then it's cleared away again because it's being defended by high every single time. Top lane brawl is continuing. Lep is continuing to push Balls back. They're trying to get towards that tower, but I think he may well be better served getting involved with his team, because they are slowly losing this battle down the bottom to Cloud9.
Yeah, they need to have some wards actually behind Cloud9 when they're pushing down this bottom lane, so Lep can teleport in, flank around them, and then start the fight. Get an easy kill. If Elimination puts the black shield onto Sneaky, well, kill Elimination then. Simple as it is.
Well, they definitely have the double sight stone to keep warding as much as Cloud9 is. Replicating those wards isn't going to hurt. They're keeping the same vision, and they're keeping themselves at least in a bit of defense. Still, long-range poke, we said, is going to come from Cloud9, and that's what they're utilizing right now.
Oh, nice.
A quick repel, that's going to be the teleport coming in from Lep. Will they decide to initiate? The box is really disengaging Cloud9, but like we said, they're able to stay on the outside. Balls goes down immediately on that one. The intervention is down as well. Do they have a chance to follow up on this? Looks like they'll take it, and they'll leave it.
And look at that burst here from Tinons and Syndra. As soon as the ulti from Balls was gone, blowing him up instantly. Lep sadly couldn't actually teleport in behind. He had to join the team in the middle of the fight, so no flank from him.
Didn't get around, but it does mean Cloud9 take themselves the second turret of the game, but a little bit of a warning sign for Cloud9 there. If you get out of position, don't have full coverage, you will get burst down.
Yeah, it's a bit of a messy fight at first here. I mean, Cloud9, they want to obviously poke from range, get Danagorn really low. It was a good binding from elimination at first, but then the real fight starts. Balls teleporting in the middle of KaBuM, and as soon as his ulti is gone, well, you're dead.
Overall, a great box from Dan's there. The team was like, sorry, Balls, you're on your own, buddy. 2 minutes coming up onto Dragon. We'll see if we can get KaBuM to get those forward wards out. Most of them are going down to their own jungle now, except for what Lep has done on the top side. Again, that pink ward able to clear out another one.
High has no flash.
Pretty sticky position here. He's going to try to walk around the chompers. He says heal. Thank you very much. He's still taking good damage from Minerva. He's going to get out with half health on this one, just due to that level difference. He wasn't taking that much damage.
He finally got the pink ward down. But High nearly lost his life defending it there. That was a very close and good chompers that forced him to run around. It has put Cloud9 in a sticky situation off the side here. The stun goes down. Meteor's caught out on it. Elimination in trouble. The rocket's coming through. Repels away. Danagorn trying to give chase. Elimination getting away. This has given up the top tower to Balls. They do finally get the kill on the support, but to lose a tower and potentially the mid as well, because Sneaky is still pushing. They could lose everything here.
Yeah, so the plan for KaBuM was to start grouping, look for these picks here. They got elimination really low, and then ended up chasing him. Will give up this mid tower as well. Oh, he died as well.
Danagorn indeed. Getting crumbled up on that one. Cloud9 starting to gain a little bit too strong of a foothold.
Yeah, as soon as Leb left the top lane here, Ball's like, okay, I'm just gonna go take the tower, my team can handle himself. You don't really mind sacrificing your support if you get 2 towers for it.
Absolutely not. Danagorn though himself wasn't quite expecting the burst that came out there. We haven't really seen Meteos getting too involved, but let's not forget, he's built up a fair chunk of damage as he's been farming away quite happily. Dragon's up in 20 seconds time. Cloud9 once again in perfect position for it. Check in, no wards. There's not really been any wards in that entire river area from KaBuM for the majority of this game.
It's been a problem for KaBuM in pretty much all the games. Like, they are falling very far behind in terms of warding. We don't see as many pink wards because they don't get the same amount of gold as the other teams because they lose a lot of the objectives, they will lose the dragon. So it becomes really hard to keep the wards up.
And it might be an in their own head thing, knowing that they're weaker at this part of the game and they don't want a dragon, but it only starts to hurt them more when they believe they're staying safe. 3 of 3 dragons now going over to Cloud9 with an 8,000 gold lead. Those items are being finished up on the side of KaBuM, but they're not getting in the fray to use them.
It's strange that it is something we see and we have seen throughout the year, that step up in skill level tends to be hitting the vision control.
Yeah.
It's like the lower teams don't generally think of it or don't pursue it so heavily. They focus on the lanes, the kills, maybe getting an objective after you're lucky, rather than setting up 2, 3, 4 levels, maybe 3 minutes in advance, which you do see sometimes, obviously, these Korean teams and obviously the Western world teams we've seen a couple of times throughout the world starting to think way ahead of the situation that's currently being played out.
It is just so important that you can pre-plan your own moves, because it's how you catch the other team out of position. It's how you surprise them, and suddenly, even though you're behind, you get the one pick you need because you had the wards placed around the Baron already, and that's how you get back in the game. I mean, just look at Najin White Shield against Alliance, game 1. Alliance 7-0 in kills, and yet White Shield dominated the map in terms of wards, got all the picks they needed, got back in the game. For KaBuM, they need to really learn where to ward and when to buy the wards. Even if you are behind, you need them to get back in the game.
Tinones now with that Void Staff, he could definitely zero somebody out, but now Ball's bringing in the Zanyas, so he can easily focus intervention onto somebody else. It's got to be the right pick at the right time here for Tinones now.
Well, we do see, of course, Tinones has the power to pick someone off. We'll see if he can land it. The stun on high is not followed through because he was dodging the stun.
Oh, look at Lep here.
I threw out. Cocoon blocked out. They're going to go in. Lep can get in there. He's got the power. There's the stun. Elimination blown apart. The rocket doesn't quite down sneaky. But Cloud9, they have to back away from this tower. They have to respect the power KaBuM have.
And this is where Minerva can start going off. Gonna get these resets now. They're gonna be able to start taking down turrets pretty quick. They have an efficient team to do so. Good wave clear and good ability to stay on turret. Whoa! Sneaky going down. He got caught out. High gets locked up by Dance making the plays. KaBuM comes up with 3, and they're gonna be taking the mid turret as well, possibly. Meteos doing what he can on the side. They're gonna say, we don't need minions. This one's going down too.
They've got another wave coming through. They could just keep going if they want it. There's a long death time. It's still 13, 20 seconds on the 2 carries. No, we're gonna see Lep teleport away because Balls was trying to sneak in that back. He was trying to push that wave down the bottom, but now he's being clapped upon. He's gonna get caught out. The Cocoon not quite landed. Doesn't fancy Balls taking one-on-one there. Danagorn repels away. Nope, don't want none of that.
This is the Cocoon here, but wow, KaBuM, once they group up here, they have so much damage and insane pick potential. And Cloud9 not respecting it here, just get caught out of position. KaBuM instantly responds, kill them, gets 2 towers. Suddenly, goal lead is only 5k.
5k. And
I say only 5k, still a bit.
They're creeping back on that. We've seen many games sway from 5k and just go the other way instantly.
But that is something that's going to now be in the back of Cloud9's mind. It's like, whoa, hang on a minute. Couple of flashes, couple of catches, 2 carries go down, 2 turrets mid gone. Yeah, if that happens again, they're in the base on the Nexus turrets.
Yeah, and that's a problem for Cloud9 when they're using Balls as a split pusher, because he's the guy with the ulti to save them, especially from Tinones. But if he's down split pushing, he won't be there. He won't be there to help them. KaBuM at the moment can have Leb just stand against Balls one-on-one once he gets his teleport ready again. And he should be able to hold the wave. And then it's a 4 versus 4 where Tinones is really looking scary.
We talked about Dan's trying to make those plays as well. Caught out with a dart binding this time. And then another stun. He's going to get focused. The stun on Sneaky. Not going to get backed up. What I was about to say is Dan's was the man that hooked high. He was the man that led that all the way going through. Of course, Tino's flash stun was pretty impressive as well.
A lot of aggression. Saying KaBuM, they need to get themselves into the fight, and they did not hesitate to do so. Oh, Danagorn on the outside, stun one after the other. Ball's getting himself in for a few hits. Not enough to cancel him out though, but enough to gain pressure, enough to continue moving forward. Dragon's coming up in another 30. They're actually setting and focusing towards this top side here to make sure they get everything they want.
Well, basically Cloud9 has just full control of this Baron area here. They have all the pink work in there, so they can just wait for KaBuM to come in and face check and use the poke. Even the rocket to check the Baron from Minerva right here. And unless KaBuM can get in and actually clear these pink wards and take control of the Baron themselves, then Cloud9 can stay, because at some point they can always start the Baron, and then KaBuM has to go in and check.
Now with that rocket down, lacking and need to keep their eye on it. We keep seeing Dan's. He keeps tossing that lantern around that corner to try and sneak in. He's going to be able to. He's going to get in that
the
pink.
ward in.
Cloud9 have left him off the side. Got to get in and get out. He's got the ward. Now they're going to turn focus on him. He's going to run away. Balls is going to catch and slow. He just gets out of vision. Nice ulti usage. Will it be enough to get him away? I don't think it is. Dance has no flash available. He's going to get locked out. The rest of KaBuM, though, are closing the gap on him here. I'm not sure if they can make a pick in time.
Oh, Dan's right here. He just had to place a ward. When there's a pink ward on Baron, if it's inside the Baron pit, you place your green ward just outside it, and a pink ward can actually spot it. You just place the ward and then back the way here. Force Cloud9 to go back, use a sweeper, and then maybe try and do it again. Don't be greedy and kill the ward, because then they will chase you.
Cloud9 being a bunch of bullies now, forcing KaBuM into these fights, one after the other, saying, we'll just sit here until you wander into where we have more power.
They've not punished them for it, though. Dance is going to be back up. All they've done is gone in.
That's true.
Killed a ward, missed the actual ward on Baron, which you can see KaBuM have just pinged and said, we can see it now. That's our job done. Dan's work here was complete. Danagorn gets a cheeky spot. I don't think they're going to be able to get the steal on this one. Rocket's not going to be fired this time from Minerva. They're going to hold on to that one. And that bottom turret's also pressured by minions, so that may be close to falling. I haven't seen the hit points on it. I think it's going to get cleared. Sneaky will wipe the wave out. Yeah, it's very close. No. 12 hit points left. Damn it, Sneaky.
Oh, so close. So Sneaky on items. Infinity Edge, Ghost Blade for himself, matched up with what Minerva has right now. 264 to 215 in that laning phase, but they come out. Items across the board and pink wards as well for KaBuM.
Lots of pink wards. You have a side stone as well on Danagorn here, so KaBuM actually want to set up around maybe the Baron pit and wait for Cloud9 to come and face check them. When you have Syndra, when you have it, also a champion like Ahri, you need to have the vision control and use it to get picks, because you force the enemy team to come in and face check you to try and clear the wards.
KaBuM itemizing so much better as well. The Aegis is out there. Do they use the McHale here to get Dan's for himself? But he doesn't.
Well, he's down for 30 seconds. One of those pink wards has been cleared. That was Danz's that's gone down.
Yep.
Again, he was the man that was caught out eating them bindings. We'll see whether Cloud9 make it count. Gone solo as well. He was caught in the crossfire a moment ago. They're going to have to turn away from this one. Cloud9 are going to push them off this one. The chompers go down, but the Black Shield prevents them going on towards high. Cloud9 disengage, but they have full control over that river area now.
That was a great flash actually by High, because he forced two members of the KaBuM to flash away. Otherwise, one of them would have been hit and would have died here. Rocket going in, but by elimination, and the rest of KaBuM joining.
Good hands catching the rocket. Zaps missed as well. Just about 33 minutes on the clock. Baron gonna go over Cloud9 right now. Lep, he throws down the ulti, but he gets slowed as well. Not gonna be able to return any damage on this. It's all in defense. The Rune Prison will be up. Pops that down. They do get the ultimate intervention out of they turn back onto him. That's a missed hook coming in from Dan. Zanya's as well. So they have time to refocus. Minerva getting a reset. Are they able to come up big on this fight? The Zap actually hitting the backside of Sneaky, so they have vision on the far backside of Cloud9 right now, but Cloud9 is pushing forward. Ultimate coming in from High. A good dodge from Tino's. The cleanup coming from Sneaky as he takes the ult from Tino's as well. And that starts to fall in Cloud9's favor.
So Cloud9, not only do they get the Baron here to chase up, get a few kills, the ulti from Balls was used very, very early, so he actually ended up dying because he used it on Meteors. The rest of Cloud9, however, it can just join in. And High at the moment racking up the kills.
Will they keep pushing? They've got 30 seconds on the death timers. They've got a minion wave with them with the cannon, so they may well do. Leb's going to have to disengage from this one. This could be the first inhibitor turret going down for Cloud9. They worked it well. They're going to keep on pushing for that inhibitor. People are starting to respawn though, so they've got to get this and get out. Bottom wave will be cleared away. Leb's going to blow that one with his ultimate. And KaBuM are now down one inhibitor in their base.
Let's just see it
One more time.
So Leb actually runs in, but he's too late. The Baron is already dead, and KaBuM don't really want to fight, so he's forced to just try and run away. Rejoins here, his team comes in. Actually, very nice flash cocoon from Danagorn onto Balls. And ulti's already gone. Outlast one as well. Picked up an easy kill for him.
That Zhonya's basically delayed a lot of the damage, though. Meteos would have almost certainly popped straight afterwards if they had not have delayed that kill. So it worked well, good itemization, but another great ulti from High, picking off Sneaky. Look how low he went though, just a quick bit of burst. That was a Baron up Cloud9.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of burst potential on that KaBuM side today. Even the next play, despite the super minions pushing in the top lane, has to be well thought out.
And you really have to respect Tinons in this game here if you're Cloud9, but I love the way High used his ulti. The best way to always use the Zero Fold is if you basically force the enemy team to keep running in a straight line. If they ever stop, your team will catch up and kill them. So they have one choice: keep running and hope they don't actually die.
Give them spots where they can't run. Make them go backwards. I like it. 8-7, 35 minutes on the clock. Now it's getting over 10,000 gold leads. It's 59,000 to 47. Cloud9 doesn't have to worry about the big worm on the top side of the map, so we can hover here on the bottom for quite a while. They're going to try to push into the inhibitor turrets once more. They already have the top side cleared, so that's going to cause KaBuM to focus that as well.
They're delayed, but Tinons is not with them. He's busy getting blue buff, which has given Cloud9 a massive opening, taking his tower down. Without that massive range stun, they were easily walking in. They fancy defending his turret though. High taking a bit of chunk there. Left trying to get that burst down, but Sneaky and Balls continuing. The rocket lands on them. They may well chase this one. They're going to push out. Oh, the hook so close to landing.
Going in.
Dan goes in, lands the flavor, will pay the price with his life. And now Cloud9 can turn and push back onto KaBuM.
Just flashing in, throws back the lance, and nobody's actually going to click it. They're like, nope, you're on your own, mate. And ends up dying at Nexus turrets as well. Cloud9, they want to finish.
This really coming off of Tinons being on blue. They had a ward to see he was up there, and that's why Cloud9 being so fearless as they enter the base. Now coming up on 36 minutes, they are getting pushed off a bit here. KaBuM looking to go for broke, but they get locked up. Left gets hit by a dark binding. A few more shots coming in. Focus onto the Nexus, and it is going to be Cloud9 coming up with the victory over KaBuM.
So it was far from a clean victory for Cloud9.
Very true.
But to win nonetheless. Najin Whiteshield now is in their focus. They've got the slippery game out the way in terms of banana skins. Now it's time to really do your homework and prepare for that match, which will be happening later on today. It was a risky game though. They showed once again KaBuM. They had the burst. They caught them out in that mid lane and they pushed and took them 2 towers.
And once again, we saw the tactic against KaBuM was actually for these teams to play extremely safe, stick to a laning phase as long as possible, keep split pushing, spread KaBuM out, don't let them group as a team. Because what they did in Brazil, when they qualified for Worlds as well, was their teamwork together. Like the 5 versus 5 team fights were extremely scary. The comms they build around it. When you have a Jinx from Minerva in these team fights and you have so much burst damage, get the first kill, you get your reset, and you just keep chasing up here. So Cloud9 basically said, we're gonna spread out the map, and once we feel like we can set up a Baron, loads of pink wards, we're just gonna look for this one pick. Once we get it, we take the Baron, and we go for the game.
Working on being dictated in the mid game is just all KaBuM has to get out of their system. Understanding what to do then, and literally they will be a team to be reckoned with.